If you want to increase your sales and your conversion rate to make more money, stay tuned because we're going to be talking scripts and how you can handle objections with the ultimate salesperson, man, whatever, Nick. Stay tuned.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batch Skip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Life and Air.
Hi, okay, so we are here today with Nick Good, owner of the Good Home Team.
Yep.
What else do you own?
I mean, if we have to have Austin on for that show.
Right.
Owner of A&G Development Group, which we buy, rehab, resell, own lots of properties. Whatever Austin buys, we own.
Awesome.
It's a
So
big tag team.
we're bringing him in today because we're going to be talking scripts and objection handling, which does not sound sexy whatsoever, but it's so crucial to everyone's business if you're in sales, I would say.
Absolutely.
And
Well,
so
in some capacity, right? Because everybody needs to get business. So.
everyone. So
In
obviously
different
this
way.
is going to be more geared to real estate. We're going to talk about common objections people face from the investors, from homeowners, and as real estate agents, and then how you can overcome those or get better with it so that you can grow your money.
I think I'm more excited than anyone else because it's going to be very genuine because we have completely different business models. And what I love is that there is a huge misconception that if your scripts, and this is, I'm just going to say me, right? And I'm sure a lot of people are like this, but that you're in front of a computer with the headset, and that's how I think about it, that someone's like, oh, hi, how are you? And I probably think that way because I call banks
Like
all
a
the time.
telemarketer?
Yeah, like a telemarketer. And so I never really understood the value of scripts because I'm like, just freaking talk to them, like have a conversation.
And that is scripted, and people don't even know that.
Right. So I'm really excited to hear from you, besides being the ultimate salesperson. I'm excited to hear your perspective of it, especially with how you started your business.
Absolutely.
So real quick, we call him that because if you know him, everything's
Everything's
a
a sale.
sale.
We didn't even plan that.
No, we didn't. It's just how
Everything
we
is.
are.
We actually were just talking about you in the car, and I'm like, of
That's
course,
good.
Nick. Had to turn it into that because that's what he does. But that's great though, because any opportunity, like you're gonna
What
get
did
it.
Austin say about him last night? Because he's the ultimate salesperson, he's like the ultimate psychopath or something like
That's
that.
what Austin said?
Yeah.
Jeez.
There was some love for the
Wow.
brother.
It's gonna be a
Thanks,
really good
Austin.
show.
But
It's gonna be a
anyway,
really
we were
good
talking
show.
about how great it was. But that's come in use for your business, and that's how you built it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, it started out, and I'm just going to just take over and jump right on in.
All right,
So
go
it
do it.
started out, I got in this business, traditional real estate sales. So in 2006, and went really full-time as a realtor in 2007. So thought I was going to make a shit ton of money. And in 2007, I sold 3 houses.
Oh my gosh.
So that's not that's not a lot.
Sure, that's relatable. It's
Yeah,
very relatable.
right?
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of
truth.
people.
Yeah.
And from there, in 2008, I started just YouTubing everything, right? So I was trying to figure this business out. I was we're with Keller Williams. So Elizabeth, you're part of the Good Home Team. But the other brokerage I was with before Keller Williams, I decided to leave there to get some better training, right? So they just weren't geared for the training that I needed at the time for being a new agent.
Yeah.
And so I read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, and what it says, leads, listings, leverage.
Right.
And it doesn't tell you anything about scripting in there or how to go get them. It just says you can call expireds, for sale by owners, your sphere.
Right.
And I'm 24 years old. My sphere was living at home. They're broke. And those parents,
Like I don't want to talk to my friends. They're all broke.
yeah, their parents aren't buying from me because
Yeah.
I'm their their kids' friend.
Right.
So real quick, I'm just kind of curious, not that we want to spend too much time on your story, I don't think, but with scripting, was that something you knew you needed to do, or did you learn it? Because I think a lot of people when they're brand new are like, okay, so how do I start learning what I should say on the phones, in person? Was that just through failure?
Yeah, I hated it, right? So like,
Oh, so you haven't always been this way?
fuck no, absolutely
See,
not.
that's good, right? Because a lot
Yeah.
of times people think that this is natural, and
Yeah.
if someone
Well,
met
I
you,
bet there's a level of natural talent there for sure.
I mean,
but the comfortable
maybe.
of where he can just on the spot. And a lot of times people think it's natural, but for you it was learned.
Here's the thing: at 24, I was still very in my shell. Like I was, like the confidence level wasn't really there. And so, you get to Keller Williams and say, let's role play some scripts. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I acted
That's
like I'm going to
super
go.
uncomfortable,
I'm going to
too.
go to the bathroom and not come back.
Yes. Oh, I
right?
did that.
Yeah, right. and even
night.
even in some of the things like where I'm uncomfortable, I'm like I'm getting up and I'm bouncing out.
Yeah.
And so I didn't embrace it. But if you're going to stay in this business, so a little bit part of my story in 2008, like I was doing somewhat decent. I had 8 deals under contract in 1 month. I felt like Superman. Bullets were going to bounce off me, and they all fell apart.
Yep.
And they didn't come back. And so I started interviewing for jobs because I needed money. And then during that time when I was interviewing for jobs, this light bulb moment went off and said, all right, prospecting and lead generating is the same thing as me going out and looking for a job.
Yeah.
I have to go find the job. I then have to go interview for the job. Then I have to sell myself in that interview so well that when I follow up, they're going to give me the job. Then I have to go do the job to get paid. And my income level is stagnant because they're going to tell me what I'm getting paid.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And so...
Most people don't even think about it that way, right?
No, not at
Our
all.
go-to is, I need money.
Right.
We don't equate our time as money.
Right.
And you did. Right off the bat, you were so aware of like, hey, if I'm gonna spend this much effort, it's gonna be for me, not for someone else.
Well, yeah, because they said I needed to work 6 days a week in order at $60,000, and if I wanted to hit their bonus income to hit my bonuses level, I really needed to find 8 days a week to work. And so I'm like, screw it, I can go work 7 days a week in this business, learn to prospect, call expired, and call for sell by owners, and make 200, 100. That was my goal.
Right.
Right. That's everyone's goal. They get in real estate for time freedom and to make unlimited income.
Right.
Well, if you have time freedom and you're not working, you're not going to make 6 figures.
100%.
Okay, so we're going to do some tactical stuff later where we actually role play and handle common objections you guys are going to face. But let's get a little bit maybe into the mindset of like, why does someone need to use scripts and get good with scripts and become this well-oiled machine with what you are going to say or what you're thinking about so you are prepared, regardless of like lead source, whether it's a distressed seller, an expired, a buyer. Like, why does someone need to be well-oiled?
Let's equate that to when you did it, because you came up with your system, right, for the team?
The system of
like the way you guys run it with the cold calling and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so take us there.
Well, let's take us to the mindset, and I'll take you to that part too.
Yeah.
So the mindset of it is, think of it this way: if you don't know what to say, your confidence, especially over the phone or even in person, you're going to start stuttering.
Yep.
And you can't effectively show your confidence level when you're like and it,
I think I'm supposed to say this.
Yeah, that jerk stop thing doesn't work.
Or then they really catch you off guard and you're just like, bye.
Yeah, and they're like this person
don't know the
doesn't know
answer
what
to
they're
that.
talking about.
Shit.
You could know everything about this business,
Right.
but if you just are stuttering and fumbling all over yourself, you're not going to win.
Right.
And so it's basically giving you a roadmap of where you want to go, right? And Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street guy, whether you like him or not from what he did, he had a straight line persuasion. And the straight line is you have 1 point here, 1 point here, right?
Yeah.
And so at the beginning, whether you're in person or making the call, your goal is to set an appointment. That's over here. And you want to go, the fastest way is straight line. But what people do when you're talking to them, they're going to take you way off topic. Like, hey, look at this. My cat's so awesome. It's potty trained. It can go flush the toilet. I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit.
Right.
So
and
how do
that's
you-
any seller you talk to.
Yeah, right.
If you give them the platform, and distressed seller, traditional seller. So
They're
absolutely.
like, how the fuck did 10 cats show up? Like, all of a sudden they
Why
just
are we
don't
talking
have-
about it? Like,
Yeah. And so then you have to figure out how to pull it back on the straight line to get to the appointment. If you're so far off base, you're not going to be able to pull it back in,
Right.
and you've lost complete control of the conversation.
Yep.
And so if you've lost control, then you've just lost your time, and most likely you're not going to get the appointment. Or there's some people like, oh, I just talked to this person. I had an amazing conversation. I'm like, all right, did you set the appointment? Well, no.
I made them feel good. I didn't get anything
it was
from
great.
it.
They're a great person.
And they feel all warm and
Yeah.
fuzzy now, like someone stayed on the phone with me.
Yeah,
Didn't
and
achieve
so
your goal.
and so it gives you an idea of what your goal is to set an appointment, and if it's not an appointment, you have to determine if it's going to be a nurture, a follow-up, or if you want to delete them altogether and you're never going to talk to them again.
Awesome.
Okay. So then with scripting though, I think people have the common misconception that we're good at it because we are like hardcore prospectors. So let's talk a little bit about that. Like, regardless if you're a hardcore prospector or your business is really warm and referral based, why do you like need to be scripted in that sense? Is it just so that you can actually listen to understand and then you're not trying to listen to respond and that you can actually hear a conversation? Or
So if your business is referral based, should you be scripted? Is that the question?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay. That just want to make sure I
I
understand.
know.
Right?
I'm listening.
Yeah,
What was the
right.
question?
But that's also scripted, so that's the same thing. If I'm in an appointment, I'm going to ask that, and I'm going to repeat it. and say if I understand
Well,
it.
there's something huge because he took direction and he was like, hey, tell me exactly what you're wanting.
Yeah. So with
That's
that
the
though,
sales.
if even a referral-based business, I'll give you a real quick example. Is I just had a seller hire me, and it was a friend of mine's parent. Actually, now ironically, the parents are now hiring me. But when my buddy called me up and said, "Hey, my parents are going to give you a call. By the way, they are interviewing somebody else." So not all your sphere is going to be just lay down,
True.
come sign
Sometimes
with
it's
me.
the opposite.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's the exact opposite because they know you.
They don't want to work with you. They don't
Right.
want to work with you. And you have to overcome those objections and say, look,
Right.
one is at the end of the day, our friendship is here and business is here.
Right.
I'm not going to marry the two.
Right.
So, you can trust that when I have my real estate hat on, it's all business.
Yeah.
Then when we want to go out and have a good time, we're not going to talk about this shit over here. And
Right.
so it's just being able to effectively and set that tone and expectation.
So when you first started and you were, okay, so you got over it, obviously,
Mhm.
right? You
Yeah.
stopped going to the bathroom. You got
Yeah.
over it. And you went back into the room and you, but when you did that, can you tell us like where you were at as far as what was that line where you were like, okay, I'm finally, this is what I'm doing. Like,
But this is a skill I need to get.
This is I'm good at this. Like, this is what I need to put into place. Was it just the consistency of it that made you have that
It
confidence?
was both, right? So I have a fear of failure, right? So if I'm going to promote to everyone like I'm in real estate, I'm going to do this, and then the next minute like, hey, how's real estate going? Oh, I quit that because I suck in life and I can't make it over here, right?
Yeah.
So I really had this fear of failure, and so that's also why even then I had no money. I probably should have taken that $60,000 a year job, but I didn't and got by.
Yeah.
And it was learning. Here's the thing: 2008 is when I really started studying YouTube. I bought stuff on eBay to learn it. I didn't go into those role playing classes, so I never really went back from the back. Right? I was self-taught,
Yeah.
and then I felt comfortable enough to start participating.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was my style.
So that's how you built your confidence because you started gaining the knowledge to feel like, okay, I feel like I know what I'm talking about. Because
Yep.
I'm very similar.
Yep.
Like me and Elizabeth talk about this all the time. I just don't talk just to talk. So I don't have that confidence of, hey, or I didn't used to have that confidence where I would just get on the phone just to talk.
Right.
Like it's not because I don't give a shit how your day going with
Yeah.
your 5 cats.
Yep.
Like my patience is like
Yeah.
this. But now over time, it was that actually doing the transactions, going through it, knowing what the hell I'm talking about, that it just came out.
Right.
But it was having to really put my head in the sand, and not take my head out of the sand, and like really learn it. And then I felt confident. So it wasn't like I just picked up the phone one day and was like, oh, I'm having a conversation with you and now you want to work with me. I was educating myself to then feel empowered to be able to do that.
Right. So
Because some people just like to talk on the phone.
Well, and
yeah.
I think something that I've learned from you ultimately, first of all, I think scripts can be really intimidating. I don't know if people talk about this in the investment side of this world the same way they do the residential side with scripting and handling objections and stuff like that. It's really common in residential sales, but it's needed in all of them. But I think it can be really intimidating because I think most people think I have to go memorize a true paragraph or script of what I'm going to say, and that way I can regurgitate it. And I think the biggest thing I've picked up from you is keeping it simple, and it's no, all scripts are questions that you're asking, which ultimately tells you everything that you want to know. So back to your straight line, if you're starting here and you want to go here, what's your end goal? Is it the appointment? Is it a follow-up? And then making sure that you ask the questions to get there. Now, there's better questions suited for different lead sources or different scenarios, so you have to educate yourself on that.
Yeah, because
But
when
I
you start
think-
talking about the cats, you're like, oh, great, are they in the house? Awesome, let me go see them in person. You're going back.
and have they destroyed the house, right?
Have they
Like,
destroyed
Is
the house?
it urine
what kind
all
of
over the
repairs
house?
Yeah.
are in the result of the cat?
Right.
Like that's how you get him back on track.
Right. So I mean, really, scripting is all about just asking a series of questions. And
So don't
and-
overcomplicate it.
No,
That's
not
what
at
I'm
all.
hearing.
Here's
Don't
the thing.
overcomplicate
What
it.
do I teach to our agents in the classes we put on is like, if you run out of questions, just ask why.
Yes.
Tell me more
Become
about
like
that.
a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
and he's like,
But
so
why?
the
But
adult
why?
way to say that is, tell me more about
Yeah,
that.
tell me more about that.
I love that because
Yeah.
they're fillers.
Yeah. So what I'm
Like if you get
understanding
nervous
is,
or whatever.
or clarify that, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
help
a
me-
golden nugget
yeah,
right there.
Yeah.
Because most people, they get so nervous and they're so anxious that they're like, well, what do I do? So that's a huge.
But the
huge
main thing with this is why they're anxious and scared is we have a fear of rejection.
Yeah.
And what we teach, with our agents when they're calling, right? So when we, let me go back to your first question of how's our setup, right? Our agents come in Monday through Friday from 8 to 12, and we're calling leads, right? New leads. We're not necessarily always cold calling. Now we call expireds. I don't call that cold calling. Those are people that had their hand raised and said, hey, they were interested in selling, and unfortunately there are other agents who couldn't do it. Yeah, they're cold to us. But with that is we have a fear of failure and a fear of rejection.
Yeah.
But if you don't ever pick up the phone, or if you're talking to somebody and you kind of just get off the phone real quick, you just rejected yourself. So why don't we have a fear? We don't have a fear of rejecting ourselves. We have a fear of other people rejecting us.
Clearly, we don't have a fear of not making money either.
Yes, and so it makes sense.
Then we'd pick up the damn phone.
So picking up
the
phone, if you're calling lead sources that don't know you, who cares if they tell you to jump off a bridge?
Absolutely.
Right? There's a lot worse things they could say to you. It's just, all right, go to the next one until someone gives you that answer. Whether that's in all lead sources. Even I call a lot of our investor leads that we're buying their properties. It's the same thing.
Right.
Or people that were during the recession. I call people on the foreclosure list, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not on the list." I'm like, "No, you are. That means you didn't pay your bill."
The worst before I became all referral based, the worst was when I was calling on the pre-foreclosures, and I would be the one breaking it to the wife.
Yep.
That they were in foreclosure.
It's awkward.
It's so awkward, and I'm just like, I remember one time I got a text message, and I never cared, what you're saying. Because for me, it was more, I gotta get a deal.
Yep.
I gotta get listings. I gotta get help, get more short sales. But I remember, this lady, she had sent me this paragraph of or no, it wasn't the lady, it was the husband. How dare you? This is whatever. I'm like, and then I just turned it into, well, she's about to get a ton of other calls. So here, let's do this. I can help you. Sell it before, we'll put it online so people will leave you alone. Tried turning it into that, but those were the worst.
So the main thing that I would pick up from what you just said, though, is even in a text message, you're scripted with that because you went into solving a problem.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that we're doing with those questions is we're here to solve that problem.
Right.
And whether it's traditional real estate where we're calling for sale by owners or expireds or even our sphere, we're going to solve that problem of getting their home sold or getting them into a house, or if they're behind on their mortgage, right? So, asking enough questions, is it worth our time to go to a short sale route, or does it make more sense to go a different option?
Yeah.
Can I buy you out? Can I do something else, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so you
being
start
solution-oriented, adding value.
Yes.
And we talked about that ultimately that's where it's at. Most people want to sell. Most people want to say, hey, for investors, I have cash. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That may not be their pain point. That may not be what they're needing. So you need to figure that out in order to build rapport and add value of saying, what's the situation? And giving them, for me, specifically with what I do, I just talk to them about their options. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. Yep, no problem. I never once say, hey, we need to get these signed, or we need to do this.
Well, and then their guards down because it doesn't feel like you're selling to them. You're building rapport with them.
Just having a conversation. So.
Well, let me ask. So you went to YouTube back in the day, and obviously YouTube's still great now. But so if you've got someone in the business, where would you advise them if they want to start learning, where they can go to find scripts that maybe they can learn from, or what even common objections are, so they can start preparing themselves? Because for me, a little bit, as much as I had Keller Williams down my throat, saying read this, and all these classes, I also had the luxury of being on the team and hearing you. So that's actually where I learned my scripts, because I probably sound just like I'm regurgitating what Nick Good says half the time, as long with some KW stuff. So where for people, if they're alone or new to the business, where are you going to go?
Well, shameless plug, the only real estate podcast worth listening to.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, you were just on earlier and you did not plug our show.
I did plug it.
Oh,
I plugged it for you.
Yeah, because I'm not going to go on your show and plug it.
Well, absolutely,
my show.
As you should.
No, we would plug you at
I'm
the
talking
end.
about ultimate salesperson.
No, it's taking advantage of an opportunity. So again, the only real estate podcast worth listening to. It's on iTunes, YouTube, and Facebook. But you can go there. We do scripting. If you don't have someone to go to, but find a mentor, it's all over YouTube.
Yeah.
Right?
I Google too.
Well,
I literally will Google what are common objections, and that's how I used to help the team, and I'd shoot them at them and see what their responses were back. That way I could be if they are, which they were a lot of the time.
And I know we talked about even Googling what neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, doing some tie downs.
Yeah.
And even then I'm rusty at it, and you have to, it's a foreign language, but even adding those in will help. But it's get some basic scripts. They're all online.
Yeah.
I mean, and
YouTube
then,
is a huge resource.
Yeah, and then listen to what people are saying, because it's not even the script necessarily, right? It's the direction of what you want to go,
Right.
and then it's your tonality,
Yeah.
right? If you're making calls
How
to
you
somebody
say what
like,
you're saying.
"Hey, Nicole," like, "Oh, you having a good day?" Like, "You have a house to sell?" No one, like, they're like, "Who is this like monotone person who has
Yeah.
no energy behind it?" You
Right.
have to take control of the conversation with some authority and some excitement behind it. Like, "Hey, Nicole, this is Nick Good with the Good Home Team. You know, I see your house didn't sell.
Yeah.
You know, are you giving up on that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on?"
So one piece of advice we always give to our new agents who are trying to figure out scripting and NLP until you get comfortable with it, because it can be really conscious then, is like, be loud too. Sometimes that just takes the authority
Yeah.
over the phone so that they believe in you to let you stay on the phone to get into the conversation. So
love
like
that.
us calling together is the worst. We're the loudest in the rooms and
Yeah.
people can't handle it.
That's why you're on this side and he's on this side.
That's why I have my own room.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to actually pause real quick and
Yeah.
take a quick break. So we've been here talking about why you need scripts and how you can use those to increase your business. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more, but get more tactical on actually throwing common objections at Nick and seeing how he's going to handle them live.
The Propelio Academy, an all-in-one education resource for training in wholesales, subject to wraps, short sales, flips, rentals, BRRRR, property management, and more. Go to propelio.com/academy to get your scholarship today. Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at propelio.com.
Okay, guys, we are back today with our special guest, Nick Good. Like I said before the break, if you didn't catch this earlier and you're watching the replay, the first part of the show is going to be about mindset around why you need scripts in your business, especially sales. But we're going to get back into that a little bit, but as well as tactical scripts and live like role playing and objection handling to see how good Nick actually is and if he can live up to
We'll see.
being the
A lot
ultimate
of pressure.
salesperson.
I just love to role play though.
All right, so
That's a different show.
yeah. Well, I love what you said, because going back to when you were talking about the way you guys with your team and like you trying to fill in with people watching, I know we have a lot of investors, and it goes beyond real estate. You can do it as an agent, investor, and so it goes beyond that. Like if you're listening to what Nick's saying, you know, getting out of your own head, right? Getting out of talking about, you know, the filler words and being able to control the conversation is so important, because I think a lot of times like investors get into it and they're just like, hey, guy, I see it all the time on Facebook. They're like, hey, I buy cash, I do this. Or they try to talk to their family members, or they try to talk whatever. And this is so important. Like you guys can instantly utilize this in your business of being the authority. And if you're not comfortable on the phone and it doesn't come natural to you, that just like Nick said, when he built his business, that he just started researching and started writing down the points. I mean, and we've said it before, like there's so much information out there, whether you're watching your podcast or on the YouTube shows, where I've seen like actual scripts. So we can get past that mentality of like, it's just something you're memorizing. It just starts to become part of you.
Okay, let's jump in. Are you ready to throw some stuff at him?
All right, you go first.
Okay.
All right, did we write these down?
No, you can't look. Don't be prepared.
No. Oh, wait, we're just randomly asking him?
Well, yeah. I just want to see.
Okay.
I want to put you on the spot.
Oh, yes.
And we
let's
can
do it.
like, because you can role play some of the investor and short sale scenarios, and I can role play some of the buyer and seller ones with him.
Okay.
But I want to see, like, I'm going to carry it on a little bit like a conversation. We're just going to do a few of these, because what I think is going to be valuable for you guys is actually see how he handles them. Because what you may sit here and think initially is like, I'm an investor, so I don't want to hear Elizabeth and Nick role play a commission objection or a pricing objection on a traditional sale. But you need to take away the style of what he's doing, because it goes beyond traditional versus investor, and it goes to just a more general platform.
It's the way he's communicating.
Right.
It's his body language. It's going to be the way he talks.
But the thing that's important about this is going to be how you set more appointments over the phone, and when you run those appointments, how you convert more of them, get them to sell their home to you, get them to hire you, whatever that looks like, which is all more money in your pocket. So I think that's important to know.
It's all about contracts, whether you're an agent or an investor.
And
it's all about contracts.
We're just testing his skills. So
We'll see how it goes. This is a lot of hype.
I know, Elizabeth.
Yeah. I mean,
Calm
should have
down.
warmed me up.
Calm down.
Like, throw an easy one out.
okay. So we're gonna cool.
Let's do
Which
it.
one do I want to do?
Go.
We want to interview other agents.
Great. So tell me a little bit about, is this over the phone or in person, first off?
That's a good question.
In person, because we're in person.
Okay,
person.
sure, in person.
So that also means that I've done my presentation.
Yeah, so you sound really good.
Okay.
But you know, I think we've got a few more agents we still want to meet with.
I definitely understand that, and I respect that. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Like at the beginning, you had mentioned like X, Y, and Z. Like you mentioned, of course, selling your home at the highest price is most important to you, and then communication and marketing. Was there something that I missed a little bit that you may feel a little uncomfortable with me, or do you not see that how our firm can help you get your home sold for quickest and for the highest amount of money?
No, I think. Listen to them already. No, I feel confident that you guys could do the job, but there's some, these other agents also sounded really great over the phone, and I already have these appointments set with them.
I agree. I understand 100% where you're coming from, and I definitely want you to talk with those other agents. If you don't mind me asking, who are those other agents?
Josh DeShong. Should I say real names? And Guam.
Great, and I love both of those. They're actually, both of those guys are really great friends of mine. So is there anything that you're looking for from the other two that I may have not covered, or maybe I felt like was not as important to meet your goals, and you're thinking it's really important to getting your home sold?
Not that I can think of, but I don't know what they have to offer yet either, because I haven't met with them.
Okay, fair enough. Is there anything else that you're looking for? Because what I want you to notice that I did in our meeting here is that I asked for your business no less than 7 times. Did you pick up on that?
No.
No. But so what I want you to do is go ahead and meet with those other 2 agents. But let's do an apples to apples comparison between our numbers and our proven marketing technique, and at the same time see if they're actually asking for your business. Minimum 7 times, because if they're not going to do that, if you hire them, are they actually going to be asking buyers to make offers on your house?
Okay, that's a good point.
So are you signing or what?
I don't know. He hasn't asked me.
Here's the thing.
You can't just slide it over and be like.
Here's the thing that I don't do though. Like at the end of the day,
You're ultimately not a hard closer.
I don't go for the hard close.
Yeah.
Because people don't like that.
Right.
So let's talk about that, because the mentality is you cannot leave the house without the contract. That's my mentality.
But you know what?
Because
if we looked at it, we sellers are the game, whatever, and that's our bread and butter.
Sellers are everybody's game.
But what I want to say is that we probably get it signed at the appointment 25% of the time. That may even be
25
generous.
to 30.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in the follow-up.
Yeah.
But it's setting it up. Like what people don't know is besides we're scripting right now, we're scripted with the pre-qualification beforehand so that I know what to be scripted on when I go to the appointment. And if I'm not signing it then and there, and that pre-qual really helps with that, then I'm real scripted with my follow-up based off this appointment and how I ended it. So I totally agree.
So again, that's a little bit of this is unfair, because when I'm doing my initial call, just like you said, I'm going to ask certain questions.
Yeah, you would have already asked that.
I'm going to be like, Nicole, before I come out there, right? You mentioned that you're wanting to move to Waxahachie because you're wanting to get out of the city, right? You want to get that mobile home with some land.
I know.
And put some wheels on it and be able to move around. But at the same time, now I've lost my track because I'm just trying to make fun of you a little bit. I'm sorry. But what I would say is when I come out there, I'm gonna bring the paperwork and ask for you to sign if you feel comfortable. And I know that with our proven techniques, you're gonna be blown away with being able to market your home, get it on the market, and present it to the right qualified buyer to get that best price. And imagine when we get to closing, you're going to have that big check and that big smile on your face. I'm going to ask for 3 things from you. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Those 3 things, I'm going to ask for a review from you, and it better be a 5-star review. If I didn't do my job, you tell me. 2, I'm going to ask for a referral, someone that you know that's thinking about buying or selling. And 3, we're going to take a photo. You holding up the Good Home Team t-shirt. It's a famous t-shirt. Super soft.
Famous?
Famous.
Even in Waxahachie?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Everywhere.
Especially in the mobile home department. So it's super soft. You're going to want to sleep in it all the time. You want the Good Home Team close to you, right? And so we're going to promote that all over, right?
So I love what you did.
Yep.
Because I'm going to stop you right there, because you were clear You directed the conversation, and it's almost like you told me in your language, like, this is what's happening.
Well, I'm telling you what I want from you
Right.
because I'm not trying
But
to
even at
sneak
the
attack you
appointment,
with my
he already
clothes.
closed me on the phone.
Yes.
So he didn't even have to at the appointment because at that point, you already knew whether you're wasting your time or not. Because if they are like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good. If they had objections, they would have already addressed them.
Yeah. So when we say we have about 30% where we get them in the follow-up, a lot of people still don't like to make the decision, right? So
Right,
a lot
they
of our
know the
business
spot.
is expired. And what are they doing?
Right.
Expired listings, and even in the investor world. So let's go to the investor world because we
Yeah.
do a lot of calls to the investor world. They're getting postcards.
Yep.
They're on a call list. They're on a text.
Yeah.
Like everyone's coming out and saying, "I'll buy your home for more money for cash," right?
Right.
And so you still have to go out there and develop that and build that relationship.
Right.
So that if you do say, well, I still want to interview Denton Aguam and Josh Shashong, like that,
Shout out.
I'm going to give myself hopefully the competitive advantage because I've done
Right.
the upfront work,
Yeah.
I've built that rapport with you, and that I've also hopefully set those other agents up for failure because they didn't ask for the close X amount of times.
I love that. Well, I mean, most of the people that I talk to, like if I get the same referral from multiple investors, I'll ask the seller, like, who do you want to work with? And they'll tell me this person.
Yeah.
And it's because that person set the expectation like you're talking about, spent the time to build rapport, and any objections, like you said, they already dealt with.
Yeah.
And then so even though they already talked to other investors about possibly buying the
That
house.
just happened to me when
Yeah.
I sent you one.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example. There was like 2 other realtors, another investor, and I literally asked her, I said, okay, but because I had already had the lead when you sent it over to me. Remember, I told you, I was like, oh, I got this like 3 weeks ago. She just doesn't pick up. But when I mentioned your name, she was like, no, but Elizabeth explained this and this. She already had a buyer and she already came to the house, and she's like, I want to work with her. Even though the other investor was already emailing me her mortgage statement, all her information. So it proves that even though she was willing to give that information, Elizabeth spent the time figuring out what she needed and built that rapport. So I think that is like so much value for people that are trying to do that, because a lot of times people are so desperate to set the appointment that they don't take the time to do that. And appointment means nothing if you can't close it.
100%.
Like, it's just you driving to houses, and most of this distressed houses suck anyway. So you're literally just going to be sitting with dog shit everywhere, and you did it for nothing, you know?
Well, and the biggest thing I want to say too is if you look at what he did in that scripting with me, anytime I threw an objection, which I'll do better next time. Anytime I threw an objection.
She's okay for on the spot, guys. She's like, oh shit.
I'm like trying to put the pressure on him, and then I'm like, oh, I've got to be like a tough seller now. You asked a question back though, like you did with me earlier, to clarify what I was asking, just to make sure that we're all hearing and going after the same thing. And otherwise we'll talk in circles, or we won't get at the main point, and we won't even figure out what they're actually objecting to. So I think that's crucial, and most people don't do it. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to do one. So let's just do on the phone, since you talking about. So you guys say that you call other investors or sellers?
Mostly sellers.
Sellers. Okay, so we'll do one as an investor for seller. Like, you're trying to buy the house.
Okay.
Or I'm trying to buy it. No, wait, you're trying to. Yes. Okay. Whatever. So you're calling me. So I don't. I've had like 10 different investors call me, and they're gonna come to my house, and I don't know if I want to just sell it as is or just put it on the market. I don't know what to do. I'm getting bombarded.
Great. So I would say, what do you think you want to do? Tell me a little bit more about your house.
Well, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't want to deal with anything. Like, everyone's asking me about my house condition. I don't know. It's okay. I've lived here forever. I've lived here for 25 years. And I don't know. I don't want to put it on the market because I don't want to deal with showings. But at the same time, I don't know who to go with, because, you know, realtor told me that I should work with their investor, but then this other investor said he can close quick. So that's good, because I need to get out, and I'm facing foreclosure. So I don't know.
How far behind are you on payments?
I can't remember because I don't check my mail, but I'm pretty sure it's been like 8 months.
8 months. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So before I ask you a couple more questions, what I want to know is, you mentioned you don't know the condition really, but if we had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 meaning that it's move-in ready, immaculate condition, and 1 meaning that we need to burn it down, where would you kind of rate that?
I don't think you should burn down my house, but I mean, there is a smell I can't get rid of, and
Some real life.
I know. I talk to a lot of these sellers. And I live in one part of the house. We've kind of just taped off the other part. One realtor said that it might not finance. I don't know what that means, but I mean, really, I just don't want to deal with the hassle. I don't want to have to deal with, buyers or whatever. Like, I just want to sell my house. and I just want someone to pay me. I just want cash. Just
Right.
give me cash for it.
I completely understand that.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a reasonable request, right? So
Right.
Where do you want to move to?
I found an apartment. I'm in the middle of a divorce, so I'm moving with my boyfriend. And
Actually, I'm so focused on the next part that I didn't even pick up on that.
yo, this is real shit. Come on, these are conversations I have every day, and I'm like, what? Anyways, let me focus. So I'm moving with my boyfriend, and what was the question?
You're moving in with your boyfriend. You're getting divorced.
Where I want to go?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I just need to get money for it, and I want to do it. The foreclosure is next week.
Oh, it's next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's what
We
the letter
we
said.
should just refer you to the short sale queen
Yeah,
right now.
So what I would go with
No,
this
we
is,
need to find out how much they owe first.
yeah, so where I would go with this of being it next week, if that's truly the case, I would
Fine, next month. Make it easier.
next month, because what I'm going to do is I can't help you, and I'm just going to let you get foreclosed on. Honestly, like more than likely, what I've noticed with people that are 8 months behind is that Austin and I have a certain criteria we're going to buy from, and that's
Right.
probably not that criteria.
Right.
And so like it's
Or
going
they're
to be
going to refer it to me and try to stop it with 4 days.
Yes, and how fun is that?
I mean, we do it.
She did it
you
for
do.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do
It
it.
works, but I don't want to go through that hassle. But
Yeah.
I will cherry pick all day long. But if it's next month,
But you're trying to make the appointment.
Yes.
So next month.
great. So here's my mindset right now is what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to set the appointment and say, great, I completely understand it. What I need to do first in order to best give you any type of advice right now, because I haven't seen your house, right? You told me you're 8 months behind. Foreclosure is next month, which we've had a lot of success in getting foreclosure stopped. We work with some great people that can help getting that stopped, whether that's you. Unfortunately, I would refer it to you because we don't do it anymore as much as we should.
Unfortunately.
We'll pick it back up.
Yeah, we're going to take it over. The short sale king is going to come out, and I'm going to trademark that.
What am I just chopped liver? Like I don't know.
Well, you can't be
Short
the
Sale
queen.
King and his minions.
Oh, this is the worst. Keep
Yeah.
going.
So I would then say I can't advise you until I come out there, right?
Yeah.
And so I need to see that, and then when I get to the appointment, I'm not going to qualify this one. Like when I come out there
Right.
and you love everything I have to say, are you going to sign? Because
No, it's
one,
different. It's
one,
different.
you're a hoarder probably because you're living in one side of the house.
I mean,
You know,
It's all the
and
time.
so I'm going to go in there and determine. All right, you don't want to have a lot of showings, so
Right.
I'm going to go set it up as saying there's two things I can do. I can either come in as an investor
Mhm.
and find the best solution for it, and show a track record of closing on houses and how many that we personally own, and see if that even matters to her. Because what the way you're going to get it is what matters most to that person.
absolutely.
And all right, can we choose your closing date? When do you want to be in your apartment? Do you really need to be in it next in 3 months?
Right.
All right, can we still get that closing, postpone the foreclosure, close really quickly, and we'll give you a 2-month lease back and then help you get into that apartment, whatever. Do we need to offer to move you for free? What is going to be that solution-oriented problem
Right.
or solution to get them out of the house?
Yeah.
That's if us is buying it, or if we're going to be listing it and say, great, I completely understand. You don't want to have a lot of people coming through all this great items that you have in this house here.
You're mobile.
And what we can do, we've had a lot of success. We work with a lot of investor clients that will set up a 1-day showing. Would it be okay just for 1 day, a little bit of inconvenience for 1 day,
Yep.
to get some interest in here and get a contract, get you saved from foreclosure, and get you everything that you're looking for and that you want? Would that make sense for you?
Absolutely. So I love what you said and hopefully everyone picked up on it, that you're being solution oriented. So a lot of investors go into it with, oh, the only option they have is I'll buy it cash.
Yep.
Not, hey, you need to have a lot of tools in your tool belt, right?
Yep.
Because every situation is going to be different. You're going to find out how much they owe. You're going to determine, is it a crack house and can you even buy it, or whatever. And so but you're looking at it and you're looking at it from all angles, and instead of pushing, I want to buy your house, even though you're an investor and you do make it profitable, you're saying, look, I've got all of these options for you, but I'm not going to really know until I get to the house. So let's talk about it. But you've set me up for, it's not just this one thing, because people are their train of thought is like, I only do this.
Yeah.
Instead of let me figure out what is going to motivate you to do that, to let me in, and what's going to motivate you to actually work with me and show you that, hey, I'm a one-stop shop. I can help you with my resources.
But let's point out too, how many agents or investors hear someone who's in need and they're like, awesome, great, can I come to your house today? And they're
Right.
just gonna go, but you sat here and took the time. This goes back to like asking these questions for your benefit too.
Right, because he doesn't want to waste his time.
Because what if you just said, listen, I want to sell my house in Waxahachie, and you didn't mention, oh, by the way, I'm 8 months behind and I'm pending foreclosure next week or next month, and you're going to take your time to drive all the way out there. Like, that's so crucial to success, because
for the seller and for you as the person.
Yeah, it's for you, and that's going to be huge, because if you're setting all these appointments and then you're not either making offers, wholesaling these properties, getting them to sign a listing agreement with you, whatever it looks like in your world, first of all, your conversion rate clearly sucks, but you're going to be super disappointed. But it's all things that you could have prevented.
And even in the investor world, it's not different. There's not a difference between an investor and a real estate agent if you really look at it.
No.
Like, what I'm going to do is like, oh, you have 10 investors? Great. Tell me who they are. Right? I can't look up their numbers, but what I can do is I can start to show and create doubt, right? And we don't talk negative about anybody, regardless if it's an investor world or real estate, you know, the realtor world, et cetera. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a proven track record without just beating my chest and saying I'm the best. What, you know, I'm going to solve your problem, give you everything you want, and still try to figure out, if I'm buying your house, can I pay the price that makes sense for us and still get you to your solution? And if not, what I'm going to do, I say, then take that other investor offer. Now, what may end up happening, are they a wholesaler? Because they may not close on that house because they're trying to sell it to somebody else.
And the other pain point too is that what we talk about this specifically is that if you're in foreclosure, you can't chance it, right? Because a lot of investors, they just want to put it under contract. That's what they're taught. Just get it under contract without doing their due diligence. And so many homeowners get foreclosed on because they were just like, hey, let's see what happens. Let's throw it out there. And I explain that to the homeowners too. Like, you know, that's not your best bet. Like, let's look at the comps. Let's look at what your value is and what you owe and why this doesn't make sense. So yes, great. They put it under contract. That means nothing. They had a 15-day option period. And
so the main thing, the main thing to take away from this is like, what I was just thinking is like, even at the beginning of the show should have been talked about this, is like scripting and objective handling gets a negative feel to it, because it feels like sales being sold to is negative.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody wants to be sold to.
Yeah, no one wants to be sold to. They want to buy. They want to be a buyer. But it's that education and taking them through the entire process of what to expect. Right? And so that's why this isn't necessarily a sexy topic, but at the same time,
so crucial.
It's once you figure out and how to adapt it to your style,
it's fundamental.
You'll make the income you want to make.
100%. So we're going to take another quick break, and then we come back, we're going to do a little bit more live role play with the ultimate salesman.
The Propelio Academy, an all-in-one education resource for training in wholesales, subject to wraps, short sales, flips, rentals, BRRRR, property management, and more. Go to propelio.com/academy to get your scholarship today. Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at Propelio.com.
Okay, welcome back. We are with Nick Good. They're waiting for me to mess up, and I don't appreciate that. No, but we're with Nick Good, and we are talking about objection handling, and we're trying to put him on the spot, and it's not working very well. But we're gonna dive back into another specific situation, and really want you guys to take away how he's talking. Right? Because it's not really about the words he's saying, it's how he's saying it and how he's trying to direct the conversation.
Because like you said, the whole time.
Right, because what you said, like, there's such a bad stigma, because even with me, like, ignorantly, I just do it, right? And I never knew what to call it or whatever. And for me, I always had this picture of, you know, the cold calling, you know, somebody just reading off a script, because you can tell.
Like a boiler room.
Yes, like exactly, where they have these cheesy salesmen. They're just trying to get you under contract and make money off of you, and it's not that at all. It's really about the education and feeling confident in what you're saying so that you can get to the closing table. So, Elizabeth.
Okay,
right,
so this time I'm going to be an expired seller. You're calling me over the phone, trying to set the appointment. So very common with expireds, we're going to hear, you know, I am looking to still sell my home, and I'm going to be hiring an agent, but do you discount your commission? Because I'm not paying a full 6% or whatever the rate could be.
Yeah, that's all.
Whatever it is.
Commission rates are negotiable.
Yeah.
The disclaimer.
So we're in conversation.
We're
and
in
you
conversation
said,
just
you're
over
hiring
the phone.
people. Great. So
I'm already in the process now. I'm ready to re-interview because I do want my home back on the market. And I definitely know what I don't want now. But I know that I've got to make so much of money from this in order to get to my next property. So, do you discount your commission? Because I have other agents calling me who will do it for, for free, or some of them will do it for 1%.
Absolutely, and I completely understand, wanting to look at those routes. So tell me a little bit more about where you wanting to go again.
Yeah, so once I sell this one, then I want to downsize and go up north to Frisco because I don't know why I want to be there, but I want to be there. And I want a home with a pool that's single story. Awesome.
Love that. That sounds great. And you'd mentioned that you were really frustrated with your agent on the listing your home and unfortunately didn't sell. Why do you think it didn't sell though?
I'm just really not sure that the agent did their job. They never did an open house for me. I never really heard from them. We never got feedback from any of the showings. So, I never saw any of the marketing that they did. There's just a lot that I don't even know what happened and what didn't happen.
I completely understand that. So what I would love to do, Elizabeth, is would be happy to talk commissions because we do have flexible and varying commission rates. So I'd love to talk with you once I get out there and see your house because, again, I can't determine if I can even help you until I sit down and meet with you and see your home and show you, and discuss our proven, custom marketing plan that really gets houses sold. It's helped over 200 homes to sell in the last 12 months. I'm sorry. And so, what I would like to do is sit down with you. Do you have Saturday available at 10 or maybe Saturday at 3 available?
Well, what makes you different from everyone else calling that I should meet with you?
Great, and I love that question because we get that a lot. Is what we do is, again, a proven marketing plan that gets houses sold in 39 days or less. So what I can do is show you true statistic numbers that can get your home sold, and it's worked for hundreds of homeowners. But that, I don't want to brag about that. What I want to do is just sit down and talk with you more and completely understand the situation of why your house didn't sell.
So you kind of dodged my question a little bit, though, of that commission. So you told me you have flexible plans. What does that look like?
That ranges anywhere from free to 10%. So I'd be happy to sit down and talk with you and come up with the best game plan with that.
Which most sellers will not be that intuitive, by the way.
No, they wouldn't. They've never said that.
I've never heard one. That was good though.
Yeah,
I told you I was up in my game this time.
But again, I'll say from free to 10%, whatever it is, right?
But
so
really quick, I love what you said, and you first of all acted like you didn't need it. So you said, "Oh, well, I don't even know if I can help you."
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a, I can do this, I'm the best. It was like, well, I don't even know. We'll see what happens. And then you weren't, hey, what time are you free Saturday? You're like 10-3. Those are the times available.
Well, the other thing to take away from this is going to be a golden nugget moment, so get the screen ready.
It's telling you when to do it.
He's flipping me off. Is that you didn't handle the objection over the phone. Awesome, great. So we've got, do you discount commission? We've got flexible commission plans. What is it that you do that's different? Well, I'll tell you this, but mostly that's what we're going to talk about in person. I'm not trying to sell you over the phone, and I'm not handling the commission over the phone, or the commission, the objection over the phone. I'm collecting the data to know what it is that your objections are, so I can best be prepared if I want to still run the appointment, then at the appointment to handle those or to tailor my presentation to whatever it is that you're already going to throw at me, and now I'm ready for that. But not handling that over the phone is keeping you that opportunity, because if you said, no, I'm not going to discount, you may still go sign that at full commission or...
Right. Most of the time you do. Most of the time.
Honestly, we do. Yeah.
The majority of the time you
never
never
discount. But I think that's really important, to pick up from that too, is ultimately I'm gathering that. Sometimes I'm addressing it. Sometimes I'm totally just brushing right on over it, but I'm not handling it over the phone.
And this is hard because it's hard to do these types because there's a personality style that when you do it enough, you'll understand. Like right now, I know your personality style, but if you have that engineer mindset, my responses would not necessarily work on an engineer mindset. Right. They're going to want more. They want less fluff. That's a little bit more fluff oriented on that. So I would go into a little bit more detail. It would be a longer conversation. It would be a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And throw hard facts at them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's that engineer, that detailed, that CPA style mindset. And it's being able to decipher what personality style. High D's, like I am, if you go in a long-winded conversation, I'm going to hang out. I'm like, I'm like, get to the point.
Yeah.
Tell me what I need to know, and are you actually going to get the job done? You know?
It's so powerful. So that you said that, because a couple years ago I went through a leadership academy, and there was one of them that I know everybody has different ones where you do colors, all different colors, and so I don't remember what this one was specifically, but it wasn't just about what personality I was. It broke down everybody's personality. Like if you were an orange this, green this, and then actual tactical like examples of if this is a green, this is how you identify it. And it was so simple, but by doing that, afterwards I would be at appointments and I'm like, oh, you're green. Okay, great. So I need to make sure that I'm not emotional, that I'm literally just hitting you with the data, because most people, they only really are able to work with people with their personalities, because they don't customize how they talk to you, like you're saying, where facts, whatever, with the engineer, they're like, no, this is a beautiful house and it's amazing and whatever, and they're like, I don't care, like you're not saying anything. But if you talk to Elizabeth and her personality, you would appease to what
it's mirror matching a little bit more on that, right? So,
but I think that's huge because most people, they can't connect with people that are not their personalities, and that was a huge game changer for me in my business and the way I talk to homeowners and converting, because I realized like, oh, I already know the direction of this conversation. I was able to identify it.
Do you have any tips or tricks, like if you're on the phone, for how you identify that? Because some people are obviously very clear with like, what do you want? Like, why are you calling me? And just like, okay, you're an ID. Like, I know exactly who you are. But
you let them
some people are obviously more, they're going to hold back all the info they get until you break them down a little bit. So is there any trick to be like, I can tell who you are?
I mean,
is that just come with experience for you?
Probably experience for me on that. Like, I probably can't be able to clearly, paint a picture of what that looks like, other than like, a lot of people, high eyes like to talk. So they're going to tell you that entire story, especially if they're behind on their mortgage. They're going to tell you their entire history on that and why they're behind
why everyone
on it.
Funny story, I had someone today that I was talking to, the one I kind of said a little bit in your show, and she was about her husband, and I'm like, yeah, I was like, she was talking so frustrated about bitching about her husband. I'm like, well, yeah, I think you should divorce him. Like, but can we move on? And like, I didn't give a shit at that point because we're like 20 minutes in and I was so annoyed. And I was like, yeah, I agree, he sucks. But anyways, and so my assistants were dying laughing because I just didn't give a shit. I was like,
I mean, we do.
But that's what you hear like the whole time.
Actually, and that's how you stay on the phone with people.
Yeah, or if you want to get off off the phone, like let's say that it's in our world, if we didn't want to take that appointment, we're like, holy shit, our car's on fire, we gotta go.
Right? Another 2 minutes.
Yes, right? And then we've had people text like, is everything okay? Right? So there's ways you need to learn how to get off the phone.
An exit strategy.
Yes. But what Elizabeth is really good at and
tell me
is when it comes to this, is something you said, is being more like a chameleon. Right? You've got to be able to kind of transform into that personality style.
Yep.
And again, I'm a high D, but if someone's a talker, I can sit there and listen. Sometimes I zone out. Like I've zoned out a little bit even in this. I'm like, all right, what's the question?
Way to admit that on the show.
Yeah. But again, then you have to clearly pick up on it.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing on this. Is like, all right, if it's a very detailed person, that drains us.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to do all
so
this
draining.
Shit.
It's energy. Yeah.
But it's understanding, and at the end of the day, our job is to get that commitment in that sale.
Right. So what I'm hearing is, if you guys want a higher conversion and you guys want to be able to close these deals, you need to be able to identify who you're talking to.
Yes.
You need to direct the conversation. You need to identify, okay, I'm talking to this type of person. This is the way I need to communicate, because that's how you're going to build rapport faster.
Yes.
And ultimately, I would say with scripts, to keep it as simple as possible, is it all comes down, we said, to asking questions. Know your end goal on the phone or in person, wherever you're doing it, because that'll even help you, even if you haven't seen like a script that you've memorized or it's better suited, it'll help you guide you through the whole conversation so that you either get on get your goal or you get off.
And then determine, again, the appointment, setting the appointment is number one. No. But at the end of the day, if you don't get that, set the nurture, right? There's nothing wrong. If we would go through a long role play, like there's a lot of times like she wants to be hard on the role play. I'm like, I'm not going to set the appointment. I'm going to set the nurture.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to fight you. Because if I have to fight that long, like it's going to be a battle even then. And I haven't been able to
Or you're
build
gonna piss
that
me off,
rapport.
and it's gonna burn up, even though the opportunity could be there for the sale.
So understand when to cut it and say, all right, when's the best time, Nicole, to follow up with you, right? Like, you know, what I want to do is do a little bit of homework or whatever that is, you know, because this is getting, you know, long conversation, getting, you know, drug out. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then I'm going to follow up when I say I'm going to follow up, and then I'm going to then try to set the appointment. If not, then I'm going to follow up with you again until you buy or die with me.
I love that because most people are just so gun-ho on that they're like, okay, bye, next.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you guys, so when you guys do that, how many times do you think it takes for your nurtures?
Oh.
That's a great question. I used to know this. I used to.
I mean, I think we do know stuff on average, like rough stats I can give you is like if a lead comes into our system from like a buying standpoint, it's typically probably 13 months before they actually buy. So something like that. And that just depends.
That's commitment, 13 months.
But, we're people that I'm closing from like 2015 that I started the conversation with.
Holy cow.
Leads are like a wine. You know, the longer it ages, the better it gets, right?
Typically.
So like, you know, we always joked around. We put our new agents on the archive list, and I'm like,
they pull stuff out every single time.
And the archive list is actually that's the Glenn Ross leads. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
So that's the golden leads. Go look it up. It's a great movie. It's
okay.
You know.
Golden Nugget.
Yeah, look it up. Yeah.
He's like, he's gonna kick us off the show because he'd be like, if she freaking tells me to do one more damn golden.
It's a great movie. So with that, we put those new agents on there because they think they're going to treat them. They're going to be a little bit freer because they're like, oh, it's older leads.
It's fresh to perspective.
Yeah, and so they're getting in and pulling these mature leads in there that are now ready to buy or sell. Because a lot of internet leads are people that are inquiring. What do you do when you acquire to start buying? You go online and you start doing your research and you start thinking about it. You think about it, and then if you stay consistently following up with them, then you get them right then when they're ready to buy.
It's all about timing.
Yep.
Right. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thanks for being on today. Where can people find you? Do your official plug.
My official plug.
This is your shot.
There's several. So you can find me on Facebook, Nick Good, the Good Home Team on Facebook. Also on YouTube. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel, so please go subscribe there. Good Home Team or Nick Good on there. And then, of course, I have the only real estate podcast worth listening to.
After this one. Awesome. Okay, we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batch Skip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and LifeInner.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up to the Propelio event. We had a great time. It's huge, as always. We love everybody that came. If this is your first event, you know, jump on Facebook, jump on YouTube. Let us hear it. Let us know what your thoughts are. We love feedback. Anytime we could do something better, we want to do that. If this is your second event, your third event, your 10th event, let us hear that too. We're trying to create a community here where everybody comes together. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you at the next one.